Now moving on, let's have a look at the race matchup. Just move this camera over slightly. There we go. That should be fine. So let's start with the L1Z1X mindset. Yeah, you are not a good matchup here. The reason for this, the flagship has this ability where any hits assigned by the flagship and the dreadnoughts in that system have to be assigned to your non-fighters. This is very bad for you. Like, once the L1Z1X get their flagship up, you want to be staying away from these guys, from their flagship. They also start with a PDS and plasma scoring. So even early game, you know, you probably don't want to make an enemy out of these guys. You have to respect their abilities rather. So you do not jive very well with these guys. You don't want them as your neighbor. The Yin Brotherhood, again, yeah, this is a bit of a disaster for you guys because of their devotion ability. They can destroy one of their cruisers or destroyers, produce a hit, and they get to assign it to one of your opponent's ships. The good thing here is that because it's after the first round of a space combat, you know, you have a lot of firepower, so unless the Brotherhood brings in a massive fleet, they shouldn't be able to get devotion off against you very easily. But you have to be careful, because, you know, if they hold a direct hit, they can force a hit onto your War Sun, play the direct hit, and then you are not in a good place. Another thing to watch out for, of course, is their flagship. This thing is a nightmare for you. They can just suicide it and bomb your War Sun, and you're just having a really hard time then. So yeah, these guys are also very dangerous, and you don't want to be around these guys either. Universities of the Trollnar, yep. Although they are space nerds and they're fragile, and I know I want to trounce these guys every time I can, partially because of the lore. So basically, if you don't know, the Trollnar enslaved the Muuat and forced them to build the War Sun in the first Twilight Wars. And, well, basically what happens is eventually the Muuat are able to free themselves from the grip of the Trollnar, and they take the War Sun notes with them. Not with them, they're already on there. They're imprisoned on their home planet, but they steal the notes, basically, that the Trollnar had. And that is why they start with the War Sun, and they also have the Fires of the Gashly promissory note, which, you know, they have the blueprints, basically. But anyway, enough getting distracted. These guys this is a bad matchup for you. As much as I want to crush them, they have 2 PDS on their home systems, and they have plasma scoring, and can easily tech into graviton laser. You have no business starting a fight with these guys at all. Yeah, you know, if anything, try and build an alliance with them. You don't want them as your enemy. The Yisha Kingdom, yeah, this is also basically any race that has PDSs is bad news for you. And yeah, these guys start with PDSs and the graviton laser system. They can easily tech in the plasma scoring. So, you know, just stay away from these guys. You don't want to get involved. Graviton laser PDSs producing hits on your War Suns is an equation for disaster. The Mentak Coalition, or Coalition, not sure how to pronounce that word. Anyway, let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, this is also not a good matchup for you. They have plasma scoring. They start with a PDS, and they already have Saurian tools, so they can easily tech into the graviton laser system if need be. Also, you just don't want to be near. Of course, no one wants to be next to these guys. I mean, getting pillaged, this is painful. And you are a race that definitely needs lots of trade goods to build, you know, your second War Sun and stuff. What more can I say here? The ambush ability is a little bit annoying as well. But the main thing is they've got PDSs, they can easily get into Graviton Laser. Yeah, just stay away from these guys if you can. The Yssariel Tribes, you know, your matchup here is pretty good. The only thing you have to watch out for are, you know, direct hit action cards because, well, these are the action race, so almost assuredly they're going to be holding on to direct hits. And, you know, speaking of direct hit, no matter who you play against, the moment you choose the Muuat, every single other player on the table is going to hold onto their direct hit cards in case you come after them. No one is going to spend a direct hit trying to blow up someone else's Dreadnought. Believe me, when you're playing with this race, you will pretty much never see anyone else play a direct hit card. They'll all be reserved for your War Sun, so you have to be really careful. And these guys, yeah, you know, as long as they're not producing too many hits, you can smash them, but otherwise, you got to be a little careful. The Barony of Letnev, see, the annoying thing with you overpower them at the beginning, you know, with your War Sun. You can take out their early fleet. They do start with plasma scoring, and they could, in theory, build PDSs, so that can get a bit irritating. But, you know, as the game progresses, what you really need to watch out for is their signature tech, the one that lets them take 2 hits with their sustained damage. This is going to allow their dreadnoughts to be super durable, and that is not what you want. You need to end fights quickly and decisively, because all of your or the vast majority of your power is in one unit, and if that one unit dies, then whatever remains of your fleet is very quickly to follow. You know, you're not like a dreadnought race where your power is split between your dreadnoughts. All of your power is in your War Suns, you know, and you commit fully to the War Sun. You lean into the machine. You give everything to your War Suns. You know, it's War Sun or bust. You want to end fights quickly before the opponents can put too much damage on you. And with that racial attack, you know, it's going to slow down the effectiveness of your offensive capabilities. So these guys are dangerous. They are dangerous to you. Sardak Nor. Yeah, again, you've got to be careful here. You know, they're very likely to score hits. This is one of the few races that kind of likes going into Destroyer 2 as well. So, yeah, and that's obviously very bad for your fighters, which you want to have at least probably around 4 around each of your War Suns. If they manage to go in a different direction and tech towards their Nord Dreadnought, then you have to be really, really careful because of their Dreadnought ability of just, they can suicide it and take out 2 of your ships, and they get to choose. Any 2 of your ships get eliminated. So yeah, you have to be really careful if these guys go to and create their upgraded Dreadnoughts. And if they don't go through that route, then Destroyer 2 is also problematic for you to deal with. You got to be careful. These guys are good at the early game though. You can bully these. You've got the advantage early game, but depending on if they manage to go heavy on tech, then you really do need to watch out. The Ghosts of Creus. I mean, these guys are a nightmare for anyone really. It's not so much, you know, you offensively overpower them, it's just that they have this annoying presence and they have irritating amount of movement. So, you know, no one on the board is safe when these guys are around. And it's difficult for you to attack their home system because they start one space further away. Yeah, so although you can overpower them offensively, if they want to, they can take your home system if you're careless. So if these guys are on the table, you definitely need to get PDS on your home system by turn 2. Like, you need to prioritize that. On turn 2, you need to make that a priority. The Nalu Collective. See, these guys, they don't have they start with PDS, don't they? Yeah, they do, and they've got some. Yeah, okay. These guys can be a bit dangerous. They have PDS. They can tech into Graviton Laser, and they could tech into to Plasma Scoring as well. You don't want to pick a fight with these guys early game. I don't think. Probably better off staying away from these guys. What else do I have? It's also annoying. You try to attack them, they can run away. It's just a bit irritating, really. I wouldn't tangle with these guys too much if I were you. I mean, you can, but you just gotta be a little careful, I suppose. The Emirates of Hakan. If these guys are on the table, you probably want to form an alliance if you can with these guys. They have 6 commodities, you have 4. You should be able to open the floor to some, build a positive trading relation with these guys, definitely. Although you've got the military advantage here, but I wouldn't make an enemy out of these guys. Definitely try and befriend the Lions if possible. Because the Muuat are a race that, without question, they need support. They need financial aid, and that's probably why they were given 4 commodities. But yeah, the Muuat are a race, or the Gashlai rather. They need support from other members of the table. This is not a race you can play like on your own, just ignoring everyone else and doing your own thing. You need to form alliances. You're not going to win otherwise. The Necrovirus, yeah, you can bully these guys quite easily in the early game, and if these guys are on the table, try and establish positive relations if you can. Try and get their antivirus, because if you can't get your antivirus, this is the matchup where I do not recommend you tech into Prototype War Sun 2. You probably shouldn't do that with these guys on the table unless you have the antivirus. In which case, you would still go for Gravity Drive, that's standard. And instead of climbing up the red, you can probably just go lean into blue. Head towards lightweight deflectors. Yeah, probably take that route. That will probably serve you better. You can still go for Prototype War Sun 2, but you're at risk of that technology being stolen by the virus player. And especially, just keep an eye on them. If they have a bunch of trade goods lying around, you probably don't want to be going for Prototype War Sun 2. Just read the board state, I guess. But yeah, that's a counter-tech strategy. If these guys are on board, just work your way toward. In fact, you could honestly just get your Gravity Drive, and then just take it easy on tech. Just play a low tech game. If you have to play a low tech game, just get towards Gravity Drive. Submarine tools, Gravity Drive. Maybe anti-mass if you had to get that as well. And then if you need anything else, you can just you can still get PDS too. And then you can just work on the blue tech if as needed. But yeah, early to mid game, just stick to like easy techs to get. So don't make yourself a target for these guys. Basically, is what. So the Winnu, let's take a look. Come on, it's the Winnu. These guys just have nothing. Yeah, they're considered the worst race for a reason. You can, if you want to, you could completely annihilate these guys so easily. Yeah, they're at your mercy. You can do whatever you want. Try as much as possible to establish positive relations with other players, though. To further your own position, of course, rather than just outrightly crushing someone and gaining very little for your efforts. The Clan of Sa. again, this is a good matchup for you. They don't. I mean, they don't have too much that they can do to military wise to screw you over early game. I will say that their flagship is a bit of a savage though on the anti-fighter barrage. That is something worth being a little cautious of. And it hits. It's a good flagship actually. Hits some fives, 2 dice and fives. That is pretty good. But yeah, otherwise, you should be able to eat these guys up if you want. Federation of Soul. I mean, yeah, true. These guys are all about the ground force, and you have the best bombardment in the game for wiping out ground force. So yeah, the Federation is pretty fearful of you. If these guys are next to you, you can definitely set up a trading relationship with them. You each have 4 commodities. You should try and negotiate better conditions for yourself, though, because you can easily just wipe out their ground force with your bombardments. They don't start with any PDSs. They don't start with any technology that would lead towards PDSs. They don't start with the plasma scoring or the graviton laser or whatever. Yeah, you can definitely put some pressure on these guys. And finally, we have the Arborek, who have nothing on you. Again, this is another ground-based race, and you are probably the best race at annihilating ground forces. I mean, the L1Z1X Minenet is also, quite good with with their continuous bombardments and such. And there's probably 1 or 2 other races as well that are quite effective at countering the ground. But, early game, definitely you have the strongest bombardment going for you. And that's all the races. And there is one thing I forgot to mention about the Krius. Something you do have to be weary of with these guys. They have a technology, I think it's 1 red, one of their signature attacks, and Dimensional Splicer it's called. I can't remember specifically how it works, but I think it's if a combat occurs in a system where there's a wormhole, they can produce 1 hit and assign it to one of your... or your opponent must assign... I think you get to assign it, but it has to be to one of your non-fighters. So that is something you want to be a little careful of, because of course if they have the direct hit card, your War Sun's going bye-bye.